Alright everyone, and welcome back to our F1 2020 My Team. And today then is going to be the 5th round of the season then, the Dutch Grand Prix. And well, it's not a brand new track, but one that is making a return after many decades then. And yeah, last time out we actually had a pretty good result then in the wet conditions, 11th place in China. And now we do have 2 new sponsors then. Well, we already had XXY, but we've also now got Zaneto. As I mentioned a couple of episodes ago, I forgot that you couldn't, well, I didn't know that you had to put the sponsors on the car yourself. So yeah, we finally got those 2 sponsors now then on the car, and there you just saw them briefly. We've got 2 durability and 2 aerodynamic upgrades on the way. Well, some of them before the next race, so hopefully they'll all go through okay. We're also going to do some simulator training as well as some durability team building as well during that time. And unfortunately one of the durability upgrades has failed there, so we're going to have to go back and do that one again, and we won't have that for this race unfortunately, but it looks like the other one went through, so that's something at least then. We're also going to improve our chassis equipment and also do some more driver promotion then, improve our acclaim. So moving on then, we do get that rear wing upgrade through, so that's good. And yeah, there goes the chassis equipment upgrade as well. And as you can see then, have made a bit of progress then. We're still just behind Alfa Romeo and Alfa Tauri, pulled away from Haas a bit, so that's good there. Hopefully we can keep this forward momentum going then, as we were so close to points last night there in China, that 11th place finish in the wet conditions. As you can see though, our engine parts are certainly looking quite a bit worse for wear at this point. We're seeing going to need those durability upgrades to be going through then if we're going to be making, you know, these engines last through a season. As we're here now then for the Dutch Grand Prix, back after, as I say, a number of decades, and there you go, we finally got it, the black Mercedes in our save. So there we go. As here we are then, our car is out on track then for the first time around this track, and there's those new sponsors in as well, as I was mentioning. Nice to see that on the car finally as well. And also I didn't even realise, I don't know why, I didn't even realise that my original helmet design, well the one that I've been using for the last few games, I didn't even realise that was one of the ones you could actually pick. So I've finally gone back to that design. Changed the colours a little bit to match more with the car, but we've got that back now then. Once again, practice was fairly straightforward here, even with our engine parts starting to wear out a bit. I think this is a good track really to have slightly worn engine parts. I mean, if anything, I mean, like compared to like Monza or Spa, like this is more a track that you'd ideally maybe want your engine parts to be a bit more worn at, because it doesn't matter as much. But yeah, as I said, practice went well there. We managed to get some more good resource points then, boosting up our acclaim as well then in the process, so that was all very good there. Moving on to qualifying then, a bit more overcast this one, so we'll see then how we can do. We're going to go for a hot lap now then of this track. Obviously it's the first, obviously, yep, brand new for them for the F1 2020 game. And yeah, I actually really enjoy this track. I hate Hanoi, but I love Zandvoort. And we're gonna just go for a lap now then of the track. And yeah, this is one of the only like full throttle bits then, or like long full throttle bits on this track then. Flat out through turns 4, 5 and 6, then it's a bit of a lift for turn 7 there, and then turn 8 is quite quick after that. Flick over the curb there, have to run a bit of a soft suspension there to sort of deal with that, I found. And they got a few sweeping like right-hander and then a left-hander here of turns 9 and 10 there. Then one of the DRS straights here. It's not very long, so it's going to be quite hard for any overtakes to happen here. I actually quite like this little chicane here, turns 11 and 12, although I don't think I really took the best line there, but I think we still did all right there. Then turns 13 and that leads out then onto this banked final corner of 14, and I actually just really enjoy this track. It has a nice flow to it. The only downside is it doesn't really look like there's many places to overtake, but it just has a really nice flow. It's a lot more enjoyable to drive than Hanoi anyway. And as you can see for our lap time, we are very quick here compared to where we have been. we were ahead of Perez there, and as you can see, we've skipped a bit of time, and we are 8th. We're in between the two McLarens there. We messed up our second run, unfortunately, because of making a bit of a mistake there. But we are absolutely, wow, a lot quicker than we were in the first few races. I was actually out a bit earlier because our engineer said there was some rain on the way, so I was getting all my laps in a bit earlier in the session here. So this is going to be our final round. We're very close to the Delta time, and I think through 10-13 there we just about had a bit of a better exit than we did before. And to the line then, are we going to improve at all? Yes we are. We're up to 7th place then provisionally. This is an unbelievable qualifying so far, and this pace has really just come out of nowhere for us. I mean, I enjoy the track, but I did not expect to be that high up then. We're back in the pits already then. That's us done, because we went out early because the rain was on the way. So we'll have to see where we end up. We're going to be 8th on the grid then for this race. What an unbelievable qualifying that was then. We're well ahead of where the car was projected to be here. So that is a fantastic qualifying then. Could we be on for some points tomorrow? We'll have to wait and see. It's Bottas on pole then, ahead of the two Ferraris there. Championship leader Lewis Hamilton 4th. And Callum Oilott then didn't have the same pace as us then, only down in 20th place then in the other HRT.
The fans really seem to enjoy that. You made it look easy. Are you happy with where you'll be on the grid tomorrow? You left some bodywork out there on the track. Were you struggling for grip? Appreciate your time.
I think I brushed the wall once coming out the pit lane, and that's why that question was asked me at the end there. But anyway, yeah, that was a pretty crazy qualifying there. We're 8th then, so yeah, well ahead of where we were expecting to be. And we'll just have to see if we can carry that through to the race now then. As, yeah, I think without further ado then, we'll head to the Dutch Grand Prix.
It was 35 years ago that the late great Niki Lauda took his 25th and final Grand Prix win here at Zandvoort. He came from 10th on the grid to beat his McLaren teammate Alain Prost by just 0.2 of a second. Well, Zandvoort is a very different circuit today, of course, but still one with an incredible legacy. And we're going to add to that. Welcome along to the 2020 Dutch Grand Prix. A lap of this short 2.6 mile Zandvoort circuit features 14 corners, 10 to the right and 4 to the left. The main straight is 678 metres long and heads into turn 1, the Tarzan corner. With DRS down the main straight into the braking zone, that could be the best overtaking opportunity on the track. With the Grand Prix nearly upon us, Anthony Davidson is by my side once again to offer his perspective. So, let's briefly discuss Lewis Hamilton. That was a great win in the last race. Can they keep that momentum going this weekend?
It's always nice to come into a Grand Prix weekend on a high, but your expectations are based much more on your practice and qualifying runs. So it's the momentum from those sessions that they'll be hoping to carry into the race today.
It's time to see how our drivers are stacking up after yesterday's exciting qualifying session. Sebastian Vettel will start on pole. Fantastic qualifying from the multiple world champion. And it's Charles Leclerc in P2. Looking at the rest of today's grid, we have Hamilton, Albon, Max Verstappen and Ricciardo. The scientist, Sainz, Norris and Sergio Perez. Bottas, they've taken a grid penalty. Stroll, Esteban Ocon and Raikkonen. Kvyat, Magnussen, Pierre Gasly and Roman Grosjean, Giovinazzi, Ireland, Russell and Nicholas Latifi. Which of these talented drivers will come out on top today?
Okay, so two things. Firstly, can Bottas' season get any worse? I mean, he finally gets pole position and then, well, no, he's been hit with a grid drop. Secondly, I did not realise it was going to rain in this race. I sort of just saw on the icon that it was saying for the race, it was saying, oh yeah, it's only a bit of cloud. I just assumed it was going to be like that for the whole race. I didn't actually pay attention to what the full forecast was going to be. So yeah, I'm not prepared at all in terms of car setup for it to rain later on. So that is going to be interesting, I guess. I mean, we're actually locked into these tyres then. I don't know if we would have started on them regardless of if we were outside the top 10 or not. I don't know what the ideal strategy would have been. But yeah, that has thrown a bit of a spanner into the works then. I really should have paid attention to what the full forecast was rather than just checking what the initial weather was going to be. But nonetheless then, we're lined up on the grid. We've got a bit of more of a wait this time then for the rest of the grid to form up. But yeah, well, we've moved up a place then from qualifying, so are our first points then 36 laps away. The lights are coming on now. And we're away then. And it wasn't, I don't think, the best launch there. Ricardo looks like he's comfortably ahead of us. We're going into overtake, but it's a very short run towards turn 1 here, so we hopefully shouldn't lose anything. We're looking around the outside here, but I think Ricardo's got us covered there. Now we've just got to look out for Sainz because he's on the inside for turn 2, but I think we've just about managed to hold on there. Leclerc there up in front of us had a bit of a shocker by the looks of things, but other than that then we've managed to stay in position, and I think it's going to stay this way now then for the rest of the first lap, because there's not many other places to overtake after this. As we head round turn 7 now then, a little bit wide there, and that's going to put Sainz right into us then, and well, good job he backed out there because he was really putting his nose there where it was always going to get chopped off, so yeah, good job there that he actually backed out of that one because it could have been a bit of an incident there. But we've managed to escape then unscathed from this first lap, and we've not gained anything or lost anything, which I guess is not the worst thing because we really want to try and stay in this position if we can. We see then the replay of the start, and well, yeah, the Ferraris then bumped up to first and second then with that penalty for Bottas, but Vettel I thought was a bit slow off the line, and then Leclerc got completely swamped by first Hamilton and then the 2 Red Bulls. He managed to just about get ahead of Albon afterwards, but we look at the replay then at the start from Leclerc, and I thought he actually did get a better launch than Vettel, but I guess maybe just got bogged down a bit in the second phase. Hamilton was straight through, both Red Bulls then appeared on both sides, but as we head through turn 2, Leclerc managed to retake that position, but still second down to 4th, that is not what he would have wanted there. As we see then, on board from Verstappen, of course the home hero here, the one that everyone from these grandstands is going to be here cheering on, and he had a good start then from 5th. Bit of a surprise really to see he was out qualified by Albon, and it's been a bit of a surprise all season really that Albon's been putting up more of a fight than you might expect. But Verstappen then getting a jump at the start there, and he managed to get up to 3rd. And actually at the end of the first lap I was saying there weren't going to be many overtakes, but look at this then. Vettel and Hamilton side by side all the way down the pit straight here and through that final corner and into turn 1 as well. Hamilton is going to hold on round the outside, and the championship leader is going to take the lead here. He qualified 4th, but obviously I was bumped up to 3rd, and he is already into the lead by the start of lap 2, so his rival's going to be wondering what on earth they have to do here, as Lance Stroll is already out the race and in the racing point there. But Hamilton's rival is going to be wondering what on earth they have to do here to beat him because he is already back up at the front there. As for us then, we're doing alright so far. We're managing to keep a good pace here to Ricciardo. We're not under too much pressure from Sainz at this stage, so that's good. And we're holding on to his place quite nicely so far. We skip on to lap 7 then. There are some yellow flags in front of us then. We've already lost Lance Stroll from this race. And now we've lost Sebastian Vettel as well then. The pole sitter is out of the race. We're up to 6th position in this one, and it's another problem for one of Lewis Hamilton's championship rivals. So it's just unbelievable really, it just keeps on falling into place for him. As we see then, it's another engine failure. He had one in Bahrain, and that's 2 engines gone then in 5 races for Vettel by the looks of things. That is unbelievable bad luck for him, and but he's having a dismal season in real life, and I think if this was happening, I think he'd just walk out the door really, because yeah, this is pretty terrible luck for him so far, and yeah, nothing's been happening to Leclerc so far. But on to lap 9 then, Ricciardo with a big moment there at turn 12. The rain isn't coming down yet, but Ricciardo's had a huge moment there, and that's actually put him under pressure from us now. Then we're going to go into Rich, we're going to go into overtake, we're going to have DRS. Can we do anything then? This is one of the only overtaking places on the track, and we're just not getting close enough then. We had a little bit of a luck there, but it was never going to work out. I think maybe our worn engine parts then maybe playing a bit of a factor there. We just weren't gaining anything at all. here is that mistake then from Ricciardo coming through turn 12, and yeah, just a bit too early on the power there, but so things lost the back end but managed to recover it. And then we see that we had DRS there. We had to look into turn 1, the door was open, but yeah, it shut quite quickly there. And in fact, Sainz actually made a mistake there, and that allowed Bottas, who's recovering, to get back up another place and up to 7th. As you can see though, by lap 11, the rain is coming down. Our front left is really taking a beating around this track, that a lot more than any of the others, as you'd expect really. And the rain actually came down really quickly in this one, and the team were already telling us then to change strategy and go on to the intermediate tyres. So this rain really did come out of nowhere then. Well, we knew it was coming, but once it did arrive, it came very quickly then, and it soaked the track in basically no time at all. And it was yeah, not too long before everyone was in then making their stops, although not everyone came in. I noticed a few people stayed out. Lando Norris there was one of them, Gasly, Grosjean, so they're going to lose some time then. We're easily going to regain places to them because the track does not look like it is still suitable for slicks at all. Grosjean there going slowly, we were coming out the pits and we were just catching up to him. Brown on the outside in turn 3, I think we're just going to take the place off him here, and that is exactly what we do. Ricciardo's just going to drive around Gasly here then, and wow, we nearly drove into him there. I guess that gap was always going to close, and he probably wasn't expecting 2 cars to come through there, but we really need to get past this AlphaTauri then, because well, he's going to be several seconds a lap slower than us, and we do finally make it stick then through turn 8. But those who have stayed out are going to really lose time then, and we will pass Albon then, and not Albon, Norris, and go back up to 6th place then once he finally comes in. A few laps later then, the rain continued to come down, the track's getting wetter, and we are still matching Ricciardo's pace then, so I think our pace was pretty much the same then in the dry and the wet here, but there's just no way you can overtake on this track, and even less in the wet because you don't have the DRS down either of the 2 DRS straights, so it's going to be very difficult here then to try and make a move and get up another place, as in fact, well, we lose the back end there through turn 5, and that's going to put us out of shape then, and Bottas is going to overtake us in fact, which is frustrating because he wasn't really putting much pressure on us. We were holding on to that place quite well, but I mean, those flat out kinks of turns 4, 5 and 6, they're corners in the wet, and yeah, we just shoot through one of the polystyrene advertising boards there, and well, luckily we didn't damage the car, but we have lost the position unfortunately to Valtteri Bottas when we were holding on to it quite nicely there, as Bottas driving into a shower of polystyrene there, and yeah, he certainly kept his foot on the accelerator there as we were recovering to the track, but there was enough space for him and he managed to get through. As we skip on to lap 22 then, and Bottas is now putting the pressure on Ricciardo, but there's just nowhere to overtake, and well, I think we're just going to be stuck in a bit of a train here then, unless someone makes a bit of a mistake here, because yeah, there's just nowhere to go for a move really. We can't get close enough to make a lunge on the brakes. I think maybe we'll have to try and use our ERS tactically then to maybe see if there's a place that we can gain a bit of time. But the team are actually calling us in then because our tyres are getting worn, and we will be coming in then to change onto a fresh set. We'll see if anyone else does the same, but it doesn't look like they are at the moment, so was that a bit of a dodgy call there from our team? We'll have to wait and see. But we've gone to another set then, a fresh set now then of the intermediate tyres. As I was saying, our front lefts were certainly taking a beating around this track, so maybe that was a good thing to do just to be certain that we would get to the end, but still, it doesn't look like anyone else has done the same, so have we maybe thrown away a couple of positions there? We'll have to wait and see then. We're just ahead of Ocon, but I think with fresh tyres we should be able to pull out the gap to him, so I think we're right there, and in fact, yeah, we were much quicker. We caught up to Carlos Sainz, but we'll have to see now then if we can actually make a move, because obviously we were struggling a bit beforehand, but maybe with a bit of a tyre advantage we will have a bit more of a chance here then to actually make some overtakes. Have to wait and see. We weren't quite close enough then out of turn 14 and down the pit straight on that occasion, but we'll see then out of this slow corner then if we can have some better traction. It looks like that's exactly what the case. We've got a very good run actually But I think actually the problem there was that we put the overtake on, and that caused us to get a bit of wheel spin, and yeah, that hurt our momentum there. So I think maybe going into overtake actually stopped us from making the overtake there, but we were certainly a lot quicker, and in fact the cars do start coming in then. Sainz is in, Perez is in, Bottas is in, Ricciardo's in. We've jumped them all and we're up to P5, so that is looking very good for us then. And interestingly, there's a bit of a mix then between inters and wets for what people have gone for, so it looks like it's really on the cusp between the two tyres at the moment. So hopefully it won't get too wet, because yeah, we may be on the wrong tyres if that is the case. But nonetheless then, we're up to P5 for the time being, so that is very good for us then. As we see the race leaders coming in then, Hamilton was still in the lead from Verstappen, and well, Zandvoort is about to erupt because Verstappen has emerged in the lead of the race then. When the leaders came in to change their tyres, Verstappen has overtaken Hamilton in the pits, and I think the whole of the Netherlands is going to erupt then with that one, because Verstappen now leads with only a few laps to go. We see the pit stop from Lewis Hamilton. He came in, he changed the tyres, but it was Leclerc in the other Ferrari. He had to wait for him to come in, and that little hesitation from the Mercedes team has handed Max Verstappen the lead of the Grand Prix. For us though, we are in 5th place with only a few corners to go at this stage. The wet tyres do seem like they're a little bit quicker than the inters, and Bottas has caught right at this then. We were quite a few seconds ahead of him, but he's managed to whittle it down, but with just nowhere to overtake on this track and no more mistakes from us, we managed to hold on for an incredible result here for HRT in only their 5th Grand Prix. We crossed the line for 5th position.
Alright, race over. Take care of the car on the way in.
Many doubted whether they could pull off the win here in Zandvoort, but they have done, and done it in spectacular style. Talk to me, Ant. What was it that set them apart from the competition today?
Well, keeping their tyre temperatures up in the tricky wet conditions was really important. There's not much grip out there at the best of times, and it's 10 times worse if you're out there on cold tyres. So the way they kept the rubber in its proper operating window was a huge advantage today.
Red Bull are our winners today after showcasing some incredible driving. There's been a huge push from them lately to stay competitive with the other teams, and they're certainly proving themselves.
It's a euphoric return to the Netherlands for Formula 1 then, with their young superstar Max Verstappen taking the win then in the pouring rain, and he takes his first win of the season then ahead of the championship leader Lewis Hamilton. So not everything has gone his way then so far this season. That pit stop there has cost him 6 points then today. I guess 7 technically, because the fast lap's irrelevant really. And Leclerc then ran out the podium. He's continuing that very consistent season he's having. Alex Albon then 4th in the other Red Bull. He was quite a way off today, but he's still having a good season as well. There we are then, 5th place, our first points on the board, ahead of the Mercedes of Valtteri Bottas. What a result that is. Ricciardo, Perez, Sainz and Ocon round out the points today then, with Kvyat then just missed out in 11th. Norris then a bit disappointing in 12th, but we saw him not change his tyres initially, so that probably hurt his race quite a lot there then. And it was Magnussen in 13th ahead of Kimi Raikkonen. And looking further down then, we see that Giovinazzi was 15th, Russell 16th, Oilot then up to 17th then from 20th on the grid. There were a couple of retirements, but as a side effort there, he's managed to beat an AlphaTauri and a Haas there, so a decent effort. But George Russell then a return to form for him in 16th place, so yeah, a bit disappointing to lose out to him there, I guess, but still a fantastic result then for the team today. In the championship then, Lewis Hamilton still has a very healthy lead. Verstappen now then up to 3rd with that result. For us though, we're up to 11th place then, ahead of Norris, ahead of Kvyat, ahead of Stroll, and ahead of, well, I think a few others. I think Gasly Trying to think who else now. If I scroll down, I may be able to remember. But that's it, the 2 Alfa Romeos there as well. So yeah, we've gained a lot of places then today. Oil there still ahead of Grosjean, so yeah, the Haas driver there not having a very good season at all. Mercedes retake their lead at the top of the championship. Racing Point move up to 5th. We move up to 7th then with that result, so a fantastic day for us then. And the only downside is that we've already beaten our team goal for this season, which is to score 5 points. So we could have been a bit more ambitious really with our sponsor that we picked for this season. But nonetheless then, at least we know we've got that bonus coming then at the end of the season. But yeah, we could have been a bit more ambitious because yeah, 5 races out of 21 and we've already beaten it with that result today. So yeah, that maybe is a bit of something that, you know, look back on in hindsight, maybe we were a little bit too cautious there. Maybe we could have had that Ferrari engine if we'd gone for a bit more of an ambitious sponsor goal, but can't worry about that now. We've got 10 points on the board, a lot of money coming in, so yeah, it's a very good day, and yeah, we can't look back with any regrets now because what's done is done, and yeah, things are still looking very positive for us then with that result. So yeah, that result then, that whole weekend was just absolutely bonkers. I don't know where the pace came from. I don't know if there's a bit of an issue with the AI at this track, but yeah, well, we had a lot more pace than I expected, so we'll have to keep an eye on that. Maybe we'll have to change the difficulty about a bit, but anyway, we'll move on then. Next time will be the Spanish Grand Prix, and we'll hopefully continue to have some go results then. So that is it then for this one. Hope you enjoyed it. Leave a like if you did. I'll see you next time then for Spanish Grand Prix. Thanks for watching, and goodbye.